friends, I'm Kyla and welcome back to the Infinite Library. So it's been a few months now since I've done a haul video. I think my last one went up until about October, November last year, but I've gathered more books over that time because of course I have. So I thought I'd just give a little rundown of all the books I've gotten, because some of them are really pretty, some of them I'm really excited about, and they're all ones that I'm hoping to obviously be reading in the year ahead. Feel free to comment down below if there's any of these that you are like, get to this right away, because I'm always got decision paralysis of what to read. So, feel free to yell at me if you're like, please, read this now, don't wait on it. So, going back into, I think this is December's Illuma crate. It may be November, I actually can't remember, but I have The Principle of Moments by Esme Jikiemi Pearson, which is a sci-fi fantasy, the first book in a new series. Has these gorgeous sprayed edges, really nice end papers, and like more going on the side. I was very happy about this because I'm really interested in the story for this one. Yes, it was December's Illuma crate. So I already wanted to read this, and then it came as Illuma crate's December book, and I was extremely excited about it because one of my goals for this year, as you may have seen on my bingo board, is to read more sci-fi. So yeah, really excited to read this. Haven't got to it yet, but I'm hoping to at some point this year. They had a little free bookshelf thing in a local supermarket, and I just happened to wander there, and they had the first Bridgerton book. It isn't in the horrible kind of adaptation cover, but I did enjoy the series, and even though I know this first book in particular is extremely problematic for certain reasons, I am intrigued enough to at least try and read it and see if this series is for me or not. I feel like it's kind of like an easy popcorn watch. With I've only seen the first season on Netflix anyway. I still need to watch the second season, but I did quite like it. And I think I'm just going to basically see if the writing style is for me, and if so, I might pick up more in this series. But it was free, so I was like, I'll pick it up, and if I don't like it, I'll just put it back on there again. Then I did indeed pick up Ruthless Vows, which is the sequel to Divine Rivals. I have read this already. I absolutely adored it. It was a 5-star read. Both of the books are 5-star reads for me. So yeah, loved this book. I actually got some books gifted to me for Christmas by friends, which was really sweet. So one of my friends got me, this is one of the Critical Role novels, specifically relating to one of the player characters or stuff around him that I don't want to say because spoilers. But this is The Mighty Nine, The Nine Eyes of Lucian. It's by Madeline Rue. And I haven't actually read this yet, but I'm very excited to read this because this is one of my favourite characters in the series. But anyone that doesn't know, Critical Role is kind of a live play D&D. A D&D, it's not a podcast, but it's kind of like a live play kind of thing, and it's done by a whole bunch of voice actors. And this particular character is voiced both by Taliesin Jaffe and by Matthew Mercer. So yeah, definitely going to be checking this out in the future. I've not read the other two, well, one of them isn't out yet, but there's another one that I'm probably going to get the audiobook for, which is the Kith and Kin one from the first campaign, and then one for the third campaign is coming out later this year, which I'm very excited about because not only is it about one of my favourite characters in that campaign, it's by a writer who I've really grown to like, so I'm excited to see where that's going to go. So yes, it's just like a fantasy kind of thing, basically. I was also gifted A Strange and Brilliant Light by Ellie Lee, which is another sci-fi, and it's to do with kind of AI and stuff. This was actually gifted by a work colleague of mine. We are kind of dealing with AI at the moment, so it was kind of, I guess, on purpose. But yeah, I'm excited to try this out. I've heard it's really good. So yeah, that is that. Spoilers, I guess, for a vlog I'm hoping to be doing. Maybe not anytime soon, but I am hoping to be rereading some Jacqueline Wilson books for a rereading old favourites, and so I managed to find this in a really cheap bookshop in Norwich, so I grabbed it and picked it up. This one is Double Act, and it's about these two twins and kind of how they grow together and apart, basically. I really liked it. back in the day. I don't know how it's going to hold up, but I'm excited to try it out anyway. In the same bookshop, I also picked up Mexican Gothic, which is just a book I've been wanting to get to for a really long ass time now. So yeah, one I'm really excited to get to whenever I have time to do it. I also picked up these, I got two of these actually, and I cannot find the other one for the life of me on my things, but they are Penguin Little Black Classics. And they're just these tiny little books that are just like very short things, and you can see like they're numbered. So I have number 53, which is The Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti, which, if you'd seen my end of year wrap up, was the last book I read of last year. And this is just poetry, but I also have The Man in the Moon as well, which is, I think it's Chinese mythology or philosophy or something. So I couldn't find where that had gone in the shelves, but it's around somewhere, which I haven't read yet, but I will in the future. From this really cool bookshop called The Hive in Norwich, I also picked up the special edition of Out There Screaming by Jordan, well, it's not by Jordan Peele, but he kind of edited it, and it's by a whole bunch of different authors, and it's a whole bunch of like black horror. I have heard a lot of this goes more into speculative fantasy than horror, and I've not heard amazing things sadly now, but I'm hoping I'll still like it. But what drew me to this is that we have these gorgeous sprayed edges. I absolutely love it. Like, I'd almost picked this up so many times, and I'm glad I waited, because as soon as I saw this special edition, I was just like, I need this in my life. So yeah, something I'll definitely be getting round to at some point in the future. A book, we've got a couple of books now that you may have seen on my previous ones. Ramesa I picked up. This was also from Norwich in like the Waterstones clearance section. This was in my fairy tale vlog that I did quite recently. Didn't love it, unfortunately, and it's probably going to be passing this on, but it's a really nice edition. I don't think I ever really showed it off, but it has this really nice foiling. It is signed, as in it's got a book plate in it, and it's got cute pictures and stuff in it. It's a middle grade fantasy, which is basically Indian takes on fairy tales. So yeah, definitely if it's something you're interested in, as I check it out, but I just found it to be very young for me, unfortunately. It was kind of very low middle grade, I think. I also picked up my own copy of The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Core, because I loved this book last year and I wanted to get it whilst it was still in hardback, just because I really like this is in hardback. It's just very satisfying. So yeah, I read this. I didn't enjoy her first book, but then I took this out from the library and I adored it. I read it back in Spookopoly-thon, I think, back in October. So yeah, I got my own copy of this. It's very creepy. I don't know if it's got, oh wait, it does actually have end papers, which I didn't realise until now apparently. It's just plain on the underside, and I think, is it just, yeah, it's just a plague doctor on both sides. But yeah, I really liked this book. I was also gifted as a late Christmas present RuPaul's Pocket RuPaul Wisdom. So I'm a big fan of Drag Race. Me and my flatmate watch it religiously. And yeah, it's just like various like quotes and stuff. It's really cute. So it's just kind of like something fun to pick up and put down, basically. So now we're going into the books that I bought January onwards. That was all of my like stuff I got around November, December time. And for those of you who are paying attention to my bingo board, where I talk about I'm trying to read at least 50% of my 2024 purchases from now, is where they start. Thankfully, the very first book I bought actually very nicely slots into me reading it, because it's a buddy read that I am currently about 300, that's more like it, 300 so pages in, and it's It by Stephen King. They recently released a new version of this, and I wasn't crazy on the cover, but I ended up picking up one from World of Books, because they do a lot of discount secondhand books, and it was just the cheapest I could find it, basically. So I got it from there, and I actually really like this cover. This is an older version of it. It's a little bit battered, but I really like it. Like, it's just really creepy, and I like it more than the new edition, to be honest, which is kind of more inspired by the movie. And a lot of the editions I've seen out there are just very obviously just like a face of Pennywise, and I don't really want that on the cover, even though it's great. I love the It movies. So yeah, I'm working my way through this. I am loving it. I love the movies anyway, and I've just started to get into Stephen King in recent years. It took a while for me to click with his writing style, but I am enjoying every single minute of this. It might even be a 5-star, I don't know yet, but I'm currently at about chapter 8, 320 something pages in. I'm still in the past at the moment, but I'm getting there basically. I then managed to find in the half price sale in Waterstones a volume 3 of Lore Olympus. I have volume 1 already, I still need volume 2. But yeah, this is like the Waterstones special exclusive edition, so the cover is different. I'll put here what the original cover for this is. And yeah, if people who don't know about it, this is originally a webtoon, and it is Greek mythology inspired but brought into contemporary times, and it is about Hades and Persephone and a whole bunch of other characters that kind of involved as well, but it's mostly about their relationship, and their romance is very wholesome, and I really like it. And I really love the art style in this series as well. Like, everything is very like colourful and stuff. Everyone's kind of colour coded, and I also really like that Persephone is plus size because you don't see that very often. So yeah, I grabbed this because it was half price. I will be getting them all anyway at some point, but if I can get them cheaper, great. Pile is so high, you're on like a shelf thing basically here, and the pile is so high that you can just about see this one spying over the edge, and it is The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake. This is the Waterstones special edition. I was like, I don't think it's got anything. No, there's nothing else majorly special about it, but I almost picked up the Fairy Loot or the Illumicrate special edition, but actually I like this Waterstones more, and I think it fits better with the other 2 versions that I have. So this is the 3rd, maybe the final book in the Atlas series by Olivia Blake. I really enjoyed the first one. Wasn't crazy on the second one, but I am hoping the 3rd one will kind of be a good conclusion, I suppose, to the series. I'm not going to be reading this anytime soon. I think basically me and my friend Jules Gemharts, we buddy read the first 2 books, so we do want to buddy read the 3rd book together as well, but both of us are just not really feeling it at the moment because we didn't really enjoy the 2nd book. So I think we're going to leave this until around September time or something, and then we'll pick it up and we'll read it then. But this is a gorgeous edition of it, so I'm very happy to have it. I just hope that it kind of brings the story back again to what we loved in the first book with it. I don't know if this version has like, because there was art in the other versions, but I don't think, no, this one doesn't have art. I think, oh no, there is some art, here we go. Yeah, there was an artist throughout. He kind of puts a few pictures in. I suspect there's not as much art in this one as in like a special edition, but it's nice that there is some art in this. I then ended up picking up 2 books that I've actually had my eye on for quite a while, and then someone was selling them off, like they're basically brand new, and they were selling them super cheap. That is The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson, which is a retelling of the Nutcracker. I almost picked this up back in Christmas to read for Christmas, and then I didn't end up actually doing it, and I'm kind of glad because I've not heard amazing things about it, but I still really want to read it. I probably will end up leaving reading this until Christmas again, just because it is the season. But yeah, this is I love this edition. The UK edition is a lot nicer than the American one, I think. It's a little bit like scratched off here, you can see with the foiling, but I think it's just really gorgeous. Hang on, I just saw there's a list here of okay, the author wrote the Tilling series, which I think I've vaguely heard of. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a try, and I hope I will like it. I read another Nutcracker retelling last Christmas, funnily enough, which I quite liked, so it'd be interesting to see how this compares. And then from the same person, I picked up Throne of the Fallen, which is not necessarily one I would have picked up. I was probably going to take out from the library, but it's probably one of the ones I'm going to read when I kind of go back, and I'm going to have a look and read some of the Goodreads romantasy and fantasy choices from last year, and this was one of them, and I've actually heard decent things about this. So yeah, I was intrigued enough that when someone was selling it super cheap, I was like, you know what, yes, because I am intrigued enough, and I have heard good things about it. It's also gorgeous. This is like a special edition, obviously, of it. I don't know which version this is, I'll be honest. It doesn't say exactly what it is. But here it says House Envy. It says he was no jaguar, he was a wolf. So yeah, and it's like this gorgeous foiling underneath. So if nothing else, it is gorgeous. So yeah, I will be reading this at some point and we'll see if I start to get into romantasy. The funny thing was, like, I was like looking at the romantasy like nominations for Goodreads last year and I was like, why do I kind of want to read all of these? Like, they all sounded really interesting. So yeah, I've got this one, and I'll see if I like it, I guess. I hope I do. Then we got a couple of books that I picked up for a video that I did. One was Cursed, which is an anthology of dark fairy tales. I read this recently from my fairy tale vlog. It was okay. There were some good ones, there were some not so good ones. But I'm glad I picked it up at least and found out what it was like. Another one which I didn't end up reading in that vlog, but I'm hoping to read for like a part 2, is Snow and Poison by Melissa de la Cruz. Not gonna lie, I picked it up mostly for this gorgeous cover. I'd seen this art like ages ago and I didn't realise what it was for. And then I was like researching fairy tale retellings and this came up and I was like, oh damn. So I don't know if I'm gonna like it. To be honest, I read the first chapter and I was a bit like, but I am going to give it a try because I'm here for any kind of fairy tale retelling. I'm just going to kind of lower my expectations because I think I wanted more fantasy from this and I think it is just kind of be a historical romance. So if I go into it with those expectations, I'm hoping I will like it more. I then picked up the only manga is like currently publishing that I'm actually keeping up with, which is Twisted Wonderland. This is volume 2 of the manga, Book of Heartsobule. I've already read the first volume. I actually haven't got around to reading this yet, but I will soon. And then I have two books, two of the same book, because I have 2 versions of Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. I have the regular Waterstones version. It's not the regular, it's a special edition because it's got these really nice sprayed edges. I read this earlier this year, loved it, was a 5-star for me. And I also have the Illumicrate version, which is alright. I don't love it. I prefer the Waterstones version, but I love this book. I really want to support the author, so I'm happy to have 2 copies of it. I then went to a little trip to the Works. If you don't know, in the UK, the Works is kind of like a stationery bookshop-y kind of place, and they often sell a lot of books at like a really cheap price, and a lot of them, they've started doing it recently. There's a lot of newer books, which is really nice to see. So I picked up 3 books from there. One was a graphic novel, which is Disney Villains, Hades, The Horn of Plenty. I have no idea what this is going to be like, to be honest, but like, I love Hades. He's one of my favourite Disney villains, and like, I really like the art in this. There's something about it which I just think is so like atmospheric and like colourful. So yeah, this is very short. I think this is the only one in this series. I'm not entirely sure, but I thought I'd check it out. There as well, I also picked up a book that I've had on my radar, but again, I was a bit like, don't know if I'm gonna like it because it's a romance, but the premise makes me smile. So I picked up My Boyfriend is a Vampire. Not My Boyfriend is a Vampire, sorry. My Roommate is a Vampire. Will he become her boyfriend? I don't know. Yeah, it looks fun. I love the cover for this. It's so fun. Also, he looks like such a plonker. Like, I don't know, something about him just looks so funny. So I'm hoping it's going to be quite a fun read. I also picked up Portrait of a Thief, which is a book I've just had my eye on for a while. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but I've kind of gotten more into mystery stuff recently. And it's a heist novel. Who doesn't like a heist novel? So picked that up as well. Then I got Evernight's next book arrive, which is The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. You probably saw me unboxing this and me joking about how these are basically the 3 girls of Riverdale. But yeah, this sounds really interesting. It is absolutely gorgeous, as all of the Evernight books have been, to be honest. It's got these really nice like colourful edges, and this is a book about witchcraft mostly. I think it's more on the YA side, which hasn't been the case for a lot of the books so far in Evernight, but I'm really excited to be reading this. I do have another book by this author with House of Hollow, which I haven't read yet, but yeah, excited to be reading this. And then I also picked up, finally, because it is actually sacrilegious, I didn't have a copy of it, given it was my favourite book of all of 2023, but I did manage to find a copy of The Adventures of Elmina Al-Sarafi. I think someone was selling this on Vinted, and this is the special edition. I can't remember if this is Fairy Loot or Lumicrate, to be honest. I think it's Fairy Loot, but it's gorgeous. Like, I would have been happy just with like the standard edition, but the fact I managed to find this, oh, it's Fairy Loot, it says. Look at the foiling. Like, I don't know if you can see, but like, man, the foiling. And it's just super gorgeous. But I wanted to make sure I had a hardback of this. Oh, I didn't know there was a cat in the back. Oh. Sorry, distracted because cats. But yeah, like, I've realised lately, because I have issues with my hands, and I realised that I actually read better when I've got a hardcover. So I wanted to make sure that at the very least I got a hardcover version of this, because literally if just a couple of days ago paperback version released, I know that's going to be the version that is going to be everywhere basically going forward now. So yeah, really happy that I managed to find this at a decent price. It's basically brand new, and I'm just really excited to have my own copy of my favourite book of last year, and I can't wait to reread it, honestly. Okay, so we're going to quickly rapid fire for these last books now. A lot of these last books I've got are either special editions or they're books I've got from charity shops. I did pick up secondhand copies of the Nightwell books. I have some of the really old books of this, but I really want to reread the series. So I managed to get volume 1 and volume 2 of the Nightwell series, which contains 3 novels each. There's one more volume I need to get, and then I'll have all of the collected Nightwell books. But yeah, I'm excited to read these. They're kind of like YA, fantasy, supernatural kind of thing. Really liked them back at the day. Not sure if they're going to hold up, to be honest, but I'm excited to try them again anyway, and that's probably going to show up in a rereading my favourites video in the future. I ended up taking a trip to Waterstones, and I picked up a couple of books from there. I picked up 2 books for my manga project I'm doing later in the year. So I've got the first volume of Apothecary Diaries and the first volume of Our Dreams at Dusk. So yeah, this one is a fantasy which has, well, it's historical, I think, about a girl who ends up kind of joining a harem, but she just wants to like make potions. It's been getting a lot of hype recently. Everyone I know seems to love this, so I'm excited to read it. And this is an LGBT kind of drama series, so I'm excited to see what this is like. I also finally caved and picked up Feybound by Sarah L. Arafi. This is just a standard Waterstones edition. I just really want to read this, and I just love the hardback edition, and I knew it was getting close to the point where it was going to be hard to find it, so I finally caved and I just got myself a copy. I also had this pre-order, but I got the Waterstone special edition of A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. It has these really nice sprayed edges. I think from what I remember it's plain underneath, but it does have this really nice end paper which is signed by the author. So yeah, a book I'm excited to get to. It is basically vampires crossed with sticks of crows, I think is kind of what it's described as. I then had some more charity shop finds, and this was probably some of the most exciting finds I've ever found in a charity shop. This was in a local one, and basically all the books in there were 30p each, or 3 for £1, I think. Or that doesn't actually work out right math-wise, but anyway, they were very, very cheap. And I found The Secret History of Don Tot, the 30th anniversary edition. This is like the really nice expensive one that's in Waterstones. It has these really nice end papers, and I've been eyeing it up because I've not heard too much about it, but it just sounds really interesting, and I'm interested in like dark academia stuff. So yeah, when I found this for 30p in like perfect condition, it's even got like a little ribbon bookmark in here, I was like, I have to have it. So I found that. And then in the same place, I also found the first Evangelion omnibus. Love Evangelion. It's a sci-fi, dark sci-fi psychological anime series. And this is the manga. It's actually got some like nice colour pages. So yeah, I'll probably be reading that at some point. And then just to round it out, I also found If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. UK edition's a bit boring, isn't it? I'm not crazy in the UK edition, but it's a book I'm interested in and I would not have paid full price for it because I don't know if it's going to be good or not. So happy to have got this for really cheap. This is one of the last special edition books we got here now. The last Illuma crate I had, because I've ended up skipping March's box because I just wasn't really fussed in the book. But I got To Cage a God by Elizabeth May. It has these really nice like stained glass edges, I guess. Nice end papers. This gives me Major Labyrinth vibes, not gonna lie. Nice like silver foiling. The end papers in the back are the same. No, they're different. So yeah, this was the February Illuma crate. I'm gonna say I don't know where my January one is, but it was Voyage of the Damned, so you've already seen it. But yeah, really nice. Probably not a book I would have picked up on my own, but I am intrigued to read it. So then we returned to the charity shops. I managed to find volumes 2, 4 and 5 of Percy Jackson in these older covers which match the ones I already have. I have like 2 of these already, and I just need 1 or 2 more, I think, to finish out the series, and then I can finally read the whole of the Percy Jackson series. So yeah, it was really lucky managed to buy those in a charity shop because I didn't want them to be like the newer covers because I actually really like these older covers. I was then at a convention and they have this thing called a bring and buy there, which basically means that people will bring their old stuff and sell it on, essentially, and there I got 2 manga. So I got this one that I just bought on a whim because I thought it just looked good and interesting, and that's The Fiancé Chosen by the Ring. It's about embroidery, so I was intrigued. And I also managed to find the first volume of Monster, which is a series I've been wanting to check out for ages. You may see it in my manga project, perhaps. So yeah, you can usually only get this in like the omnibus versions nowadays. So yeah, as soon as when I saw that someone was selling the first volume, I was like, I'm having that. Okay, the lighting is dying here because I got distracted by some sprint starting, but I'm just going to quickly roll over these last couple of ones. My aunt, who currently lives in Canada, sent me this really interesting book for a late Christmas present, and it is The Djinn in the Nightingale's Eye, 5 fairy stories, and these are Turkish fairy tales. So yeah, really interested in this one. It's probably gonna show up maybe in my next fairy tale blog. Like, I don't think they're retellings, but I kind of just want to read these. Okay, don't laugh at me. I haven't read Empire of the Vampire yet, but I do have a copy of Empire of the Damned for one major reason, in that my friend gifted me the dust cover copy of the tour that recently went around. She was able to go to the tour, but there was no dates like near enough to me to be able to go to it. So I had to go, and I had to go and get like a copy of the actual book so that it wasn't just lonely on its own. So I did get the Waterstones like standard edition, I think this is, but I've just kind of recovered it with this, which is signed as well. So yeah, I'm hoping I do like this series. Honestly, from what I've heard about it, I don't think there's any reason why I wouldn't like this series. I do have it down here, the first book to read ASAP, but at least I can read the sequel straight after if I like it. Last 3 books now. I picked up I think this is the new anniversary edition, but this is Muse of Nightmares, which is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer by Lani Taylor. I just finished this the other day. Me and Jules Gemhart's buddy read this series together, really loved it, really enjoyed it. Can't wait for Lani Taylor to write more, honestly, because I wasn't majorly keen on her first trilogy, but I loved this series and she has wrote nothing since. So I want to read more books by her, so I know she's working on stuff. I'm just excited to see what she comes up with, basically, because I love the world building and the characters in this. And the final 2 books I bought today, actually, from a charity shop. And these were just lucky finds, honestly. Again, these were really cheap. These were 99p each. But I managed to find this exclusive signed edition of Last Violent Call by Chloe Gong. I haven't read any of her books yet, but they are my TBR. And this is actually a series of short stories, and this is really nice. It's like it's like foiled and stuff. It's a special edition, and it's signed by the author. So I was like, I'm sorry for 99p, I'm not leaving that. But so yeah, I got that. I will eventually read the books that this is based on, but I was like, this is too pretty to leave. And then I also picked up this really nice edition of Life is Pi. Like, this feels like this just feels really nice. Honestly, it's very smooth. I feel like it's an ex-library copy or something. I know this is like the picture on the front is kind of based off the movie, but it's just so colourful. And yeah, I really like it, and it's in perfect condition, and I want to read this book. So that is it. That is all the books I've hauled. I may just put a picture here of them all in one place because no way can I hold them all. But that is it for this blog. Let me know down below if there's any books that you really want me to get to ASAP. And until the next video, stay safe, stay cozy, and I'll see you again soon.